back, everybody, to Waterbox Live here on Thursday evening.
Yes, we weren't here last week. Thanksgiving. Hopefully everyone had a great break. But we're back.
I think we're live on Facebook too.
Oh.
Are we live on Facebook?
All right. Nice.
Yeah. A little bit of a switching it up this week. If you guys haven't already, make it. I always feel like this is said very early. There's not enough people in here. But if you haven't, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. If you're on Facebook, share the stream.
We can move it lower. You can say it multiple times.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. You're going to hear it a lot.
Appreciate you all joining us.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Drop your questions into the chat because we'll try and grab some of those later in the stream. And today we're talking about aquascaping, which is a big topic, a big concern, not concern, but like one of those nervous points for a lot of people set up a new aquarium. So we're going to go over some aquascaping, some do's and don'ts, some tips. If you've seen any of our builds, done quite a few of them. People love the aquascaping, so it'll be nice to kind of dive into that. It's a perfect time. So many people are getting new aquariums between Blue Friday, Black Friday. You know, it's going to give some information to help you guys out.
Absolutely. Again, I want to reiterate, if you guys have questions during the stream, post them down below because we're going to be doing a Q&A closer to the end. We always try to take as many questions as we can every time we're live. So put them in the comments.
Also, love in the comments, if you picked up an aquarium on Blue Friday or Black Friday, is it your first water box? What did you get? You know, we love seeing kind of what you guys are working on. And also, I've got to recommend, go to Facebook and join our official Waterbox user group.
Absolutely.
It's a great active group. How many members? I ask this every time, and I don't remember.
We're approaching, I think, like 23,000, I believe. But like Jess said, definitely head over to Facebook and join that group. If there's any resource that you're going to use while you're setting up a new water box, you're going to find a ton of information there.
Yes.
That's going to be super valuable, and also you have the freedom to just post questions whenever you want. So,
tons of new aquariums are going up, and a lot of great advice. And I always brag on how chill the group is, and not full of drama.
Friendly.
It's very friendly, very helpful. Which in a lot of groups now, especially when it comes to taking care of animals, are very hostile,
very nasty.
So this is a great group. Go over there if you have not already joined it. You know, and we look at it too. That's where we pick our users and our owner spotlights that we do on like Blue Fridays and Fresh Fridays. You know, we're looking at your aquariums. We love seeing it. So get over there, be active, and join.
And if you're
group.
nasty, my favorite button's the ban button.
He will not hesitate. We really don't have that problem in that group.
No,
like,
we don't. We really don't. I can't tell you the last
group.
time we had to ban anybody. Everyone's very, very friendly. So check it out. It's on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, just sign up at least to do that.
Yeah.
It's a great group. So
we've got we got a 20 cube going out. We got some with the first water box, 110.4 Marine X. Quite a few new tanks up there. Just installed the Refel X 380 up on my second floor yesterday. That sounds horrific. Hopefully you paid some people to do that because that sounds absolutely horrible. That is a huge, I mean, it's a beautiful aquarium, but that is
Adriana gets her new custom tomorrow?
Yes.
Nice.
Yep, Adriana's custom aquarium is arriving. It's the first one in Canada, so super excited. And Adriana, if you're not in our group, you're miss out so much great aquarium photos and information from Adriana. She's got 4 or so water boxes. Some really neat setups.
It would have been
she'll
5
have her
if she kept up the existing tank, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So 4 water boxes. Either way,
a lot of water boxes.
Lots of amazing water boxes in that group that you want to check out. Well worth being in there to check.
And I'm sure there'll be plenty of information and photos of her custom that is getting delivered. So check it out. But what we're talking about today is aquascaping. And we're here to kind of guide you through, give you some information, show you. We're going to utilize some of our past builds so we can kind of show what we did. First one we're going to show is our FRAG 105.4 that we did. I don't know when it was. 2 years ago? Year and a half? I have no concept of time.
It was 2021.
2021.
Wow.
Hey. All right, 2
That's
years
why
ago.
I have all these grays.
You will be surprised when I play this.
Yeah, I know I will, Keenan. I know I will.
You get a time warp to see
Hang on.
the two of us
Everybody,
2 years ago.
look at the gray. I'm trying to figure out which side of my face. Look at the grays. Yeah, look at the gray here. Okay. You want to see what Waterbox does to you? Look at the gray here, and then watching the video.
You want to start it?
Yeah. All right, so this is the FRAG 105.4.
Oh, that's here. I was
It is
expecting it at the
here.
studio.
No, this is the build that we actually did with Worldwide Corals.
This is before we moved over to the
Or
other
was it
studio.
Worldwide? Yeah, I think this was. And then we
Yeah.
moved it to the new studio.
Yeah.
So here, and people argue with me all the time, but I generally, for the most part, add sand before I add the rock. I prefer it. But you can do it either way. Honestly, either way you want. I don't do a huge, really thick sand bed where like the rock's not touching the glass anyway, but I put the sand in first. And here, went ahead and used the table. There's that table we were talking about.
Yeah,
And,
it's right over there.
and I pre-set it up. So this one here was going to be predominantly SBS. So I wanted to really work with an open flow, but it also was a short aquarium. So you got 16 inches in height. So you have to be real mindful of your dimensions that you have to work with. So I actually did use a little bit of epoxy, which I usually don't do in most of the scapes, but I did epoxy that one piece to kind of arch out, just to allow a lot of nice look down spaces on this one. So once you kind of have it mapped out, place it in the aquarium and hope that you put it back together the way that you mocked it up.
Yeah.
Here, fortunately with this one, I left a lot of open space, so there wasn't a ton of rock to put in. But on the top downs,
I like that though. I like a lot of what I call negative space, where it's just like, I don't know if that's the right term for it, but where there's a lot of open space. It's not overly, filled with rock.
yeah, you don't want to do that whole crazy rock wall look for the most part, because having more open is going to be better with your flow. It's going to keep the water and everything cleaner because you don't have as much dead zones. And then with designing this one to be kind of a look down SBS, is you wanted all the areas to be able to be where a colony of SBS and acros could grow out.
Yeah.
Because they don't grow along the rock unless it's encrusted. So they're going to need that wide open space, and you don't want to shade a lot below. So what you did, I did this with this one, is most of it's kind of like vertical with a little bit, so that when it does grow in, you're not shading a ton of rock underneath it and wasting all that valuable space. And then there's tons of flow, because whenever you get these big colonies, you're going to pump a lot of flow with power heads into an SBS dominant aquarium. And you need that open rock work to be able to let that flow do its thing, keep detritus suspended, being caught by the filter, even when everything grows in super dense.
I'm actually really enjoying watching this, because this is bringing back, like, we're about to do a bunch of builds here.
Yep.
And like, I'm looking forward to doing some really cool scapes. If you guys are looking at this rock, this is all the Carab C Life Rock. What's cool about Carab C Life Rock is you get these unique like arches. You can get so many different shapes that are like predefined, whereas if you buy live rock or base rock, you're just getting these like boulders, right? It's very hard to get these unique shapes. So that's one of the really cool things. And also you're not pulling this out of the ocean, it's all man-made.
Carab C shapes are definitely the easiest to work with. Like, I've used every type of rock within my 20 some odd years of doing this, and Carab C is my absolute favorite. But you can see, you've got a ton of surface area on the rocks for coral, but your what did you say, negative or open space is a lot. So you can have the fish that are gonna be really active and swimming. Your corals have a ton of room to grow in, and you're not shading corals down below as your top ones get bigger, and then you've got to kind of keep moving things around. And you also have a lot of that sandbed space, which is great for like trichophilias and all the meat and donut corals down there as well. So, you can see, and as you prefer always, no rock touching the back glass or overflow box.
Yes.
Because you want to be able to clean back there.
I want to be able to clean every single panel of glass. That's probably what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, it is. You're like, I like this. And it's also more open swimming space for your fish. So if you bog down your aquarium and the whole back of it too with rock, there isn't that open swimming space. Like if you have wrasses or even small tanks or whatever, depending on the size of the aquarium, they don't have that looping space. So it does hinder a lot in like actual swimming space for fish when you do that big kind of like laid back wall using too much of the back glass. So
yeah, and again, I want to reiterate, you guys probably might underestimate how beneficial it is not to have your rock so close to the glass that you can't get a magnet between the rock and the glass, and that goes for all panels.
Yeah.
If you can avoid that, that's the best way to go.
Another thing that I find too, like if you build up your rock too much and it's just layer on layer on layer, is you're putting corals in, say you put a frag in, something, you know, because a lot of times you don't epoxy or glue it down right away, or it becomes loose. Something gets knocked down towards the back, and you have 3 layers of rock that your coral is now behind, and you can't just grab it and pick it up. You have to either unscape the whole thing in that area, try to grab it, or sacrifice the coral. Or if like a dead fish or something happens where you can't really reach a lot of areas of your aquarium.
There you go. Instant reef.
Instant reef. The magic of TV. So we did end up kind of moving towards the LPS look with this one when we moved to the new studio. But you see that there's so much open space even for the taller like leathers and floor space. And no matter how big those grow in, you can see all the tunnels, you can see all around the aquarium, and your flow is still really, really good.
And again, you know, you guys, I say like try not to get any rock butted up against the glass, including the back panels. That's not always, you know, attainable.
No,
so like
no.
don't stress out about that. You know, it's just me being kind of crazy about. I want the glass to look like what you see there all the time.
A ton of our aquascapes do have rock touching the glass because it is not always functional, but just keep it to a minimum. And like really consider water flow and being able to access all the areas and swimming space for your fish. Whenever you are scaping, and that's why I'm a huge proponent of scape it, or at least plan out as close as you can outside of the aquarium. When you're not trying to reach over the glass and deal with it, set it up,
especially in a glass
play
tank.
around with it. That's when you scratch or chip your aquarium. You know, take your time with the scaping part of it, because you really want to, an end result, even down the road when you don't see the rock and everything's grown in, it still does have an effect on flow and water quality and how the corals kind of compete for space.
Yeah.
I really like that one. It turned out really good.
Yeah.
I like looking back at past builds because I forget we've done so many of them. I like to kind of see some of the different stuff we've done. That Scape was really nice.
I think we have like almost 400 videos now.
Wow. There's been a lot of different
that's why I was saying I enjoy
builds.
Like you said, we enjoy seeing that because it's been a little bit since we've even like
Oh, got
on
some
it.
questions.
Hey guys, I bought the bundle of Carab C Live Rock for the 340 and I don't have a mighty huge arch.
No, so our bundles are pre-configured, and just another great thing mentioned, if you're kind of considering aquascaping and not really sure where to get your rock, we do have pre-configured bundles for most of our models. There's going to be a good variety of rock to work with to make similar aquascapes that we do. However, those huge arches don't ship well. So they are not something that we generally include in the bundles, because having a 2 or 3 foot arch that weighs 80 pounds.
I think they have to ship freight, don't they? Directly from Carab C.
They might, or it's just like such a risk that's going to come damaged.
I think
it's a big, expensive piece.
I don't remember the name that was up there, but reach out to Carab C, because I think that you have to buy those and they ship directly.
Okay.
Not necessarily that you're buying it directly from Carab C, but I don't. And I think, if I remember correctly, that's why we don't offer them, because they do have to ship on a pallet, and they do have to ship.
They're very cost prohibitive.
So it's you're probably best to find like a local store that has that.
Can get it in with their Carab C. It is a beautiful piece, but and you'll see in the next one that we show you, we use one of these huge arches in an LX. It's not easy to work with. It looks beautiful, but it's heavy. It's big. It's very hard to move in and out. So we don't include those big of ones in our bundles, but the bundles for the LXs do include like some bigger shelves and bigger arches and stuff, just not the massive ones.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw a couple more questions your way. They're coming in, but
Okay.
I'm greedy. I would love a bigger tank. I don't have the space, so I'll live vicariously through you all. I have a Marine X 90.3.
That's a beautiful size.
Yeah.
I love the 90.3
right
for a
there,
3
isn't
foot. It's the one that we set up if using our Plus bundles. So if you didn't see that on Blue Friday, check out that stream. And it's turning out beautiful. I think it's a great size.
Yeah.
You can only do what you gotta do.
How much rock do you usually need?
So it really depends. I mean, it's such a hard, there is general rules, 1 pound per gallon. That's a great general rule to get you in the idea. Problem comes down to what kind of rock you're using. If you're using base rock and those big boulders, 1 pound, say you have a 90-gallon tank, you buy 90 pounds of that, is gonna give you so much less rock than if you got 90 pounds of, say, Carab C.
Yeah.
Because it's lighter, it's larger pieces, it has shape. So there's so many different types of rock, and their like weight density varies so much. So it will depend on that. I know that the bundles that we put together for Carab C, it leaves you with extra rock, which is the goal because we can't determine exactly how you want to set it up. So you're getting multiples of every shape, so you kind of have that functionality. And you got some on hand, you can preserve it for as long as you want if you upgrade or get another tank or sell it, I don't know.
Or if you buy Carab C, just keep it in the box.
Yeah. So I mean, 1 pound per gallon is a general rule, but it's so variable.
Yeah. Do you ever use glue or putty to secure the rock?
Very rarely. So in that one I did, because we had this really cool arch piece that actually came out of our Cube 15 freshwater versus saltwater that we did. And it was a really cool like arching piece that was attached. And I wanted to use that to kind of give that really nice open but tall feeling in that one. So that one was epoxied. For the most part, I try to never epoxy rock if I can avoid it. Now, if you're trying to do something really extravagant, you're probably gonna have to, purely for the fact that if, say, a coral falls down or you wanna move things around, if it's epoxied into larger chunks, it's gonna be harder to navigate around, it's gonna be harder to change, that kind of stuff. So I find by interlocking, especially with Carab C, because they have so many nooks and crannies and shapes, you can lock them in very secure. I've never in any of our aquariums had some kind of like tumble or anything where they just fall apart or fall off of each other when they're not epoxied.
Dixon's Reef, how much space should you leave from glass to rock?
At minimum, enough space for your magnet cleaner to go by.
Yeah, so I would guess like 3 inches, right? At least.
Yeah, I mean at least 3 inches. I like to leave a good amount of sand space, even if it's not like a full big chunk, but like some areas that go in on the rock a bit, so you have this big patch of sand. Because like trachyphilias and meat corals and donuts and plates and stuff are so cool, and you can even put hammers and frog spawns down on the sand bed. And they fill in really nicely so that, you know, everything's not up on the rocks, but have some sand space for those other types of coral.
Ready to roll? Oh, I'm sorry. Do you suggest? I didn't see it change. Do you suggest starting with live rock collected from the ocean, or start with dead rock?
Start with Carab C rock.
Which is not dead.
It's dead.
It's dead.
Okay, so I'll start with those two options. Dead base rock is generally big clunky pieces, unless you just find someone that's like torn down their aquarium or whatever. Problem is, if it's like dead base rock, a lot of times it has a lot of like phosphates and nitrates and stuff bound up into it, especially if it came out of someone's aquarium. And it's gonna take forever to A, seed with bacteria, but B, also grow good coralline algae. Dead base rock will grow your horrible types of algae for months before they convert and kind of become established enough to start growing coralline algae.
Yeah.
Live rock from the ocean, not sustainable, not great for the environment, also has high risk of coming with pests, pistol shrimp, different types of parasite,
worms,
coral
crabs,
eaters, algae that you don't want growing in your aquarium. So those both not fantastic.
And it smells like shite when you get it.
yeah, you do have to make sure it's ready. And then our winner, Carab C Life Rock, is man-made rock. So you're not affecting the ocean, but it has a dormant bacteria on it. So when you put it into your water, the good beneficial bacteria does actually come alive. And I mean, I'm sure they have a way more scientific way of explaining this, and it helps to establish your aquarium. It already has that nice purple color to it, so you're starting off on a better foot.
Gives you that biological aspect pretty quickly.
And it looks so pretty with the purple color, and you can't beat the shapes. I mean, there's so many types of live rock, and I don't even know what can be collected anymore. I mean, Tonga can't be, and that used to be the best. You know, Fiji rock's pretty basic, so, you know, you will not get these shapes from live rock that you're getting from your store.
Yeah.
Last question before we go to the next tank.
Okay.
Does it hurt the rock bacteria to be in open air for any long period of time?
If you're, okay, so if you're taking rock from your established aquarium, it's cycled, it's been running for a while, some percentage of bacteria will die off, but in general, majority of it's going to survive because in your live rock, there's so much deep crevices that the bacteria is in that the oxygen's not reaching. If it's going to be for extended, try and keep it in water. At minimum, cover with wet paper towels and keep as moist as possible. But the deep crevices won't dry out for a long time, so a lot of your actual good bacteria is deep in those rocks.
Nice.
Cool. All right.
Jump into the Refel X.
Yes, the Refel X. How to scape a big tank, and there are a lot of Refel X's that have gone out.
Yes.
So, and aquascaping a large, this is the 7 foot that we did. Aquascaping a large aquarium is a whole nother level. So this one here, I took actually from the aquarium crate. This is a great idea if you still have it, because it is a pretty good close to footprint of your aquarium. And
I think you're wearing
that
the same shirt.
Hey! And you mark out the size of your aquarium because you want to be able to set up and mock up and know where you are, where your glass is. You can't freehand this in your aquarium and usually end up with what you want.
Yeah.
So you'll see here, I have it marked out and for my base to kind of build. And there's gonna be, I don't know, this is a nicely recorded video, but the how many times I changed it, said no, went back and forth, is more times Keenan probably wanted to kill me by the time we were done with it. But you know, on this large, you really have to plan out because you need to get height too. It's a very big aquarium. You see I'm kind of measuring front to back space, taking into account your overflow box, and just working on the base and the general shape of the rock that I want to do. This all again is Carab C Life Rock. Standard tunnels, arches, shapes, all of that. So you want to make sure your base is very, very stable because you're going to have a lot of rock in here. I mean, this is the 7 foot. There's hundreds of pounds of rock in here. So here's one.
How long
I think
did you
this
spend
is,
on that Scape, you think?
I don't
A full
know. Do
day?
you remember, Keenan? It was a solid day.
It was a whole day.
Yeah, it was a full day until I got to where I wanted. And so this is, I think, the 18 or 24 inch arch used on this side. And I kept this side pretty simple. Nice and open swimming space because we're going to have a lot of big tangs. But lots of surface area coming out, tunnels, all that stuff.
Look
me staring.
Deep thought.
There's a lot. I'm very perfectionist when it goes to scaping.
I'm the
I've been
complete
doing it for
opposite.
so
I'm just like,
long.
just dump the box of rock in the tank and be done.
I used to scape people's tanks for them, so I
I know.
couldn't do that.
You scaped a lot more tanks than I have.
Yeah, it's in a lot of aquariums. So you'll see another arch we've used over here. This is, I want to say, the 36 inch arch on this one, because this whole section here is like the half. But you know, I made sure that there were some arches that stuck up to give height, some that went towards the back, because it is a nice, LX is a really nice wide aquarium. It makes aquascaping so much easier when you have that much front to back depth. I don't know what I'm talking about. But
This build right here, you guys, if you haven't watched this build, go back into you can find it on our website and you can also find it on YouTube. It's a guide to building large reef aquariums, right? It's with when we launched the 7 foot Refel X, we did this build. It's so in depth. It doesn't matter if we're talking about wiring or skimming or aquascaping, it's extremely in depth. If you're setting up a large tank, go watch it.
Okay, so for the frag, it was really easy because it was just a couple layers of rocks to move it into the aquarium properly. This one was very different because it was a lot of pieces interlocked together
Yeah, it was horrible.
to make
I remember.
make
Those
these
things are heavy.
shapes that I wanted, and they're heavy. And the tank is so large, it's tall. So what you don't see is I took a lot of pictures during each layer.
Yeah.
So we take the top layers off and the ones that weren't the base, and kind of hopefully move them into the area that we know what way they go back in,
Yeah.
and take pictures along the way. This one's big enough, I climbed in it. And this is why I didn't put sand in first, because people brought this up when I did it. Where's your sand? Because they always yell at me for putting sand in first. But I wasn't climbing around sand, so put rock down first. Rich just handed me all the pieces, hopefully in the order that we remove them from. And it may never go in exactly the way you did at first, and that's okay, but you have the general idea. Yeah. Taking as many pictures as you want. Oh, this was before Stacy, because I have orange hair. Then it went to black.
Only the OG watchers will know who Stacy is.
Yes.
That's that studio, man. Look at that. So nice.
So kind of measuring.
I think this one's nicer though.
Yeah, no, it is. And that's that big arch. I mean, that thing is like 80 plus pounds, and lifting it up and over the edge of a very expensive. So I'm looking through
that's
pictures.
That's why I jokingly say it was horrible, because I was very stressed out about lifting that arch into that tank.
So I had video and pictures I was referencing the whole time we were putting this back together to get it in there, and got it pretty darn close. Did pretty good on that one, and then we added the sand, and y'all can be mad at me. And this one took a whole bunch of sand because it is very large. So this is the 7-foot LX, the Gen 1, before you're bracing and all of that.
Now we have if you guys didn't know, we have an 8-foot.
I didn't know. I'm so torn on bringing one here. Just to physically have the 8-foot here as a build. Like this build, like if you've ever thought about an aquarium or just wanted to see something really cool, watch this build. It's so detailed. It's so awesome on such a big scale. And covers, things that we cover are completely transferable information-wise to a smaller aquarium. We talk about the importance of skimmers and how to dial them in, the importance of flow. Yeah. You know, every little aspect of it, and it doesn't just fit to large aquariums. So, you know, it is a good in-depth build. Check it out no matter what you're setting up.
We got some people who know who Stacy is.
Yeah. That was when I went horribly wrong dyeing my hair and it turned practically black.
One of her many personalities.
Don't have multiple personalities. And there's it whenever we were partway through our build, and this one we actually did in conjunction with Living Reef Orlando, which was great. So
they helped us get that thing onto the stand.
Yeah, they did actually. So you see a lot of swimming space for our big tanks, very open. And I like when there's a lot of open water space. I think it looks so much better. Yes, your aquarium looks 100%. Larger. Your fish are so happy. You know, that's really what we go for on most is to have a lot of open space. But still enough rock to where you can put a ton of corals and they can grow and everything.
Everyone has their own like style with the way they set up tanks. But like for me, it can be tempting to be like, I want as much rock as I can to put corals on, but a simplistic approach, which I think that's still relatively simplistic in my mind. Yeah. Like if you compare that to like the FRAG, you're just now a huge 7-foot tank with a similar kind of simplistic style.
Yeah, and something I think that people don't think about maybe if they're like newer to escaping or newer thing is they're like, the more rock the better, the more space I have to put coral. But here's the thing. You stack up your rock, say you're just like leveling up and your rock's really tall, you got it filled up. Over time, whatever's on the top is going to overshadow a lot of what's under it. Yeah. So you end up having all this space that your corals either get kind of shaded out by something that grew larger, or you know there's not enough light getting down there to really keep much. So you're not getting any major extra space as things kind of grow in, because you lose so much of that rock space from other colonies and stuff getting bigger.
Yep. White rock versus purple rock.
Purple!
Yeah, go purple.
White, it just doesn't look as good, and the white turns to brown very quickly. And it, like we were talking before, is base rock and stuff like that.
Sometimes turns to green.
Oh, will 100% turn to green, and you're going to be battling undesirable algae for so much longer with that base white rock than with anything else. So if you can spend a few extra bucks, and Carab C is not even that much more expensive than a lot of your base rock brands, then you'll get a much better look.
How many inches should my sandbed be?
That is a debatable topic. If you're not looking to get anything major like jawfish or gobies or fish, you know, things that need really deep sandbed, usually about 1 inch is plenty. It gives enough stability for the rocks. It looks good, and it's enough for like small gobies and stuff to be able to have enough sand in.
What do you suggest, sand in first or rock? That's the big debate.
I Okay, every time I did a build, I would get yelled at every single time because it is like a 50-50 split in the community, and people are very passionate on their opinion. So for the most part, if I don't have to climb physically into the aquarium like I did the LX, the sand's going in first. I think a few things. It gives a little bit of padding when you're moving rocks around to not ding up the bottom of your aquarium. It gives enough that I feel a little bit better placing rock in there and moving stuff around. And it does give a little bit of stability too if you're trying to get rocks to stay in a certain position so they're not as likely to just slip and fall, possibly hit the side of the tank, anything like that. Now if you're going for like a 4-inch sandbed, 3 or 4-inch sandbed, you would then want to reconsider that because fish getting under and in the sand, if your rock is elevated up, can cause collapse of rock. But for the most part, 1-inch sandbed, your rock's still touching the bottom, push it down a little bit, and I just find it better. Can you do sand second? Absolutely. But I also find it a pain in the butt to pour the sand in and then try and shove it under the rocks and like move it in all the spaces you can't reach. So I prefer simple.
Yeah. That's all the questions we have, you guys.
All right.
If you guys haven't already, I know there's a lot more people that have joined.
Yeah.
Smash that like button, you guys. It helps us out tremendously. It gets more people seeing these videos, getting more education on being a better aquarist. And also subscribe to the channel. Make sure you look at the subscribe button, make sure you're subscribed, and if you haven't hit the notification bell, do that as well because we are live every single week, just about at least.
Yeah, for the most part.
We've done about, I don't know where we're at now, Ken, but I think we're probably close to 370 live streams.
Wow.
Over the past 5 years.
Including Blue Fridays, yes.
Yeah. Over the past 5 years, so.
It's a lot of us.
Yeah, it sure is.
We appreciate you guys still tuning in to us. So we're back on schedule until Christmas holiday probably messes it up again.
Yeah.
But it means we'll be back here next Thursday. So make sure you tune in.
Yeah, and also I do want to mention we're not giving anything away this week, but we typically do give away stuff. So tune in next week. We're going to have some good content for you. So see you then.
All right, see ya.